Hello again, beautiful beings, and welcome back to another live at 5:55. Today we're talking all about how to parent a starseed child. Of course, I don't have kids yet. I definitely want some babies at some point in time, and potentially, maybe even next year. We'll see. As a parent, I'm sure you're watching this as a parent. If not, maybe you're a soon to be parent. Maybe you've never wanted to have kids, and that's totally okay too. But one of the fundamental aspects of being a human is having children, which is really weird when you think about it, right? It's continuing our race, it's continuing our species. Um, so it's a really important topic to talk about, especially since the children that are being born today are very different than the children that have ever been born before. And, throughout the generations, maybe you're sitting there and you're 60 and you consider yourself an indigo child or a starseed child yourself. And maybe your children aren't, right? And that's just kind of sometimes the way that it goes, and that's totally okay. So, whether you have starseed children, whether you consider yourself to be a starseed yourself, this is going to be a really good video. I'm going to try and overview all of the stages of children, the different ages from 0 all the way to 18. And then, of course, beyond 18, there are some aspects of the starseed that still come out. So, yeah, it's just really important that we kind of revamp these ideas and understandings as well. Before I deep dive into all of the different ages and information about starseed kids themselves, I just want to remind all of you that this Sunday will be the last video for about 2 weeks that I will have in Los Angeles. So the Q&A video this Sunday. And then starting Monday, so next Monday, I'm going to start to release pre-recorded videos for the next 2 weeks. Still epic information. Next Monday's video on the 9th is all about my tattoos. So I know a lot of you have questioned and wondered about the meaning behind the tattoos. So that's going to be coming out. That's going to be really awesome. But I just wanted to kind of let you know that it's coming more and more clear to me as I get closer to this 10-day road trip with my dad that we are going to be, I don't want to say we're going to be fixing the grid, but we're going to be doing a lot of grid work while we are away. I mean, our main stop is in Wyoming, and we're going to be going to Devil's Tower. Tons of pictographs, tons of very peculiar things, in that area. And it's a huge energy vortex. So while we're doing the work along the way, I'm going to be recording some videos. Maybe some videos will be live on Instagram. Some videos will be live on YouTube. They will be pretty sporadic and pretty random. All of my set videos on Mondays and Sundays and then Thursdays for the members, those will all still be released and come out on the right appropriate times. But I'm going to add in some extra videos just while we're on the road. And definitely filming one with my dad too. Just not sure if we're going to have Wi-Fi or if we're going to be able to do it live or pre-recorded. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, so in the past 2 weeks, I've had one really epic ancient Mayan artifact come to me. If you're a member, hopefully you saw the channeling video that I just did of the ancient Mayan artifact. And then today I had another incredible, over 1,000-year-old artifact come to me from a client who lives in Thailand. And I mean, it's powerful. It's called the Vajra. I believe I'm saying that right. It's got Ganesh on it. I'm not going to show it. I just want to be respectful because the energy is pretty intense. But he also included a couple of necklaces that are, clearly space rocks, which is pretty cool. So I was wondering, like, why are all of these ancient artifacts coming to me at this time? And what I realized is that they're actually tools allowing me to realign the grid work, realign the grid system, right? And of course, I did the grid video last week, so it's all pretty divine and aligned. But yeah, so we're going to be doing some serious work while we're driving. Very excited about that. Okay. Also, please get your notebooks out. This is going to be a really epic video, especially if you are a parent in no matter what age your children are, you're probably going to want to write some of this stuff down. Couple more things. Galactic Federation event is happening this Sunday, which is actually the 8th, because I'm traveling on the 9th on Monday, and I'll be away on the 11th. So just know that the live Galactic Federation event this Sunday on the 8th, I believe 3 p.m. PST, check that out. Tickets are just $11. And then there will be the recording afterwards as well if you missed it. We're going to be getting into the next steps of 2021. What do we need to know, right? I'm going to ask Galactic Federation. I'm also going to be getting into upgrades. You know, what do you all need to know about your system being upgraded, the aches and pains that we've been going through, and then, of course, the global issues, political issues. You know, what's happening right now, maybe an update on the children, an update on the reps, an update on the election, to see what they have to say about all of that. And then last but not least, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. And then please share it as well to other Starseed parents, you know, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, text message, share this video around because parents need to know that their children are special and that they need to be supported in a different way than maybe we were supported when we were children. Cool. Once again, disclaimer, I'm not a parent, so take or leave any of this information. A lot of this information I have channeled from clients who are parents of Starseed children, but also I kind of took a look back at my own childhood, you know, being raised in my generation, the millennial generation, being born in 1992, and I just kind of mirrored a lot of what I went through as a kid in the different stages to kind of what children and Starseeds go through nowadays even. I also want to just kind of begin with traditional schooling versus unschooling. Have any of you ever heard of the new kind of fad going around with parents right now, which is unschooling? For those of you who don't know what unschooling is, I'll just kind of mention, I guess, my own definition from, you know, a little bit of the research that I've done and definitely some documentaries that I've watched because I'm very curious about all of that psychological stuff. Unschooling is a method of homeschooling your children, but to almost an extreme extent of allowing your child to choose anything that they want to do throughout the day. So it's completely unstructured. They get to choose, I don't know if it's to the point of what they want to eat per meal, you know, what they want to do. And I saw these documentaries going from, you know, the child at age 3 all the way to the child at, you know, 25 to see kind of the difference of this unschooling technique. And just in my own kind of understanding, the biggest core belief of unschooling is that you get to allow your child to choose what it is that they want to do, which is very powerful. But it is so unstructured and so unlike 3D society that it would be very difficult and actually pull your child back into learning a lot of tough lessons when they're 18, 19, 20 years old, rather than having to learn these tough structural lessons when they're 9, 10, 11. So I'm not all for unschooling. I'm not all against it. But also, same thing, I'm not all for the public school system and not all against it. Personally, I think when I have children, which, like I said, could be within the next couple of years, I want to homeschool them until probably 13, 14 years old, and then put them into the public school system. But that's just, once again, my perspective on things, and just a little bit of both. So you don't have to go to one extreme or the other. I don't think any method of parenting should be extreme in one direction or another. And the reason why is because we just don't see those extremes within society, right? And there are alternative schools out there, like the Waldorf school. But I also know that, my wife went to the Waldorf school, and it didn't really serve her in what she needed, right? So it's based on the parent, it's based on the child. I really highly do believe in homeschooling, though, especially at younger ages. But I also believe in integration within society and with other kids. So it's up to you. It's all a balance. But that's just kind of my perspective on the schooling situation of it. The other thing that I want to mention is the traditional public school system, education system, does not teach your children anything of value. Like, I don't want to say that. I don't want to just throw it all out the window, but taxes, money, right? It just blows my mind, right? We really don't learn legit things in school. Like, what is geography gonna teach you, right? I don't know. I just teach your children beyond what they get in school if they are in public school. And I think this year, especially with quarantine, has really taught a lot of parents what is possible, what they are capable of outside of the traditional system. Parents have been forced to reharmonize and reunite with their children during this year, which is really beautiful and incredible. Okay, so just a couple of things about Starseed children, and then we're going to go through the ages. And every age range, I have a suggestion. Wow, thank you so much, JJ, for that incredible super chat. Really, really beautiful. Love the 222. So the definition in my mind of starseed children is cosmic souls in human bodies. Pretty straightforward. Cosmic souls in human bodies. All right? So they just simply aren't used to this density. They're just not used to this container of existence. All right? So compassion, having ultimate compassion over your children, no matter what age they are in, and understanding that they're just not used to being here. Okay. Also, many starseed children are special needs. I don't know how else to say that. I don't know if that's an appropriate term these days, special needs. I was special needs. My wife is definitely special needs. And, I'm talking about Asperger's, autism, and I'm not just saying that those things are coming from vaccines. Those are also just different ways that our brains think about things and process things, which is a soul resonance frequency thing, as well as the chemicals and shit that we got to deal with as a kid. All right. And then also things like ADD, ADHD, OCD, and then like special ed. Like, I don't know, once again, if that's an appropriate term. I know I was in special ed when I was a kid. Most people are like, oh wow, your IQ is probably off the charts, like like you were probably really smart as a kid. And to the traditional public school standards, I wasn't. I was distracted, I was bored, I was completely removed. I didn't care about reading or writing. My comprehension was off the charts, but other than that, math, nothing, like out the window. I just couldn't stay present, and I almost failed grade 3. And I remember sitting down and crying, thinking that I'm going to be held back, right, within this traditional system. So many starseed children, their brains just don't work the same way as other children's do. And the whole education system has been wrapped around the way that a traditional brain thinks, which is a brain that is built to be brainwashed. We need to realize that as well. The education system, it baffles me that the people that make the most amount of money traditionally within society are the ones who have been most educated. What is education? It's freaking brainwashing, right? So the more that you read and regurgitate, the more that you listen to authority figures, the more you're going to be rewarded. Wink, wink. It's BS. I don't know. There's probably kids watching. I'm going to watch my language, but it gets me all riled up, okay? Your child thinks differently. Most likely they're on the spectrum, but we don't have to label it, right? We need to work with our children and these children and the next generation in a different way because it's unprecedented, right? This brand new batch of little starseeds. So before, maybe in my generation, I was odd or weird or the odd one out because I just didn't conform. But in the new generation, the majority, at least 50%, maybe 51% of the kids in a classroom are going to be the oddballs. They're going to be special cases, right? And I don't think that the education system knows how to teach these children, and I don't think teachers are prepared with the tools or the time to also help these children along. Okay, so let's kind of start with the ages. We're going to start with 0 to 4 years old. 0 to 4 years old. When you hear your child's age, please write some notes down because this is really important stuff. So from 0 to 4 years old, essentially the starseed soul is getting acclimated to planet Earth. They don't know what's what. They don't know what food they like. They don't know, who they are, why they're here. So they're just kind of getting acclimated. As a parent, physical touch is really important at this stage, from 0 to 4 years old. The being held, the cuddles, the safety, the love, through that physical touch is very important because physical touch for a child really allows them to ground back in their body. Okay, it allows them to ground in their body and it allows them to remain here, okay, from 0 to 4 years old, which is really important. Between the ages of 0 and 4, your starseed child will have memories that are most likely past life memories, okay? So this is a good time to ask, where were you before this? Who was your last mom? Where were you on the planet before you got here, sort of thing, okay? It's a great time to ask about that. So clear past life memories. And also from 0 to 4 years, they are in their own little world. Their imagination is super connected. They're talking to interdimensional beings. They're having imaginary friends. They're in dream world most of the time, okay? Allow them to be there, but also give them that reassurance, okay? Allow them to be grounded as well as they're, off in their own world. And then also, please be aware that from 0 to 4 years old, there are typically very heavy psychic attacks. Now, starseed children in general typically get psychically attacked often, okay, even beyond 4 years old. The reason why is because they're very connected to the cosmos while simultaneously very open. They're an open vessel. So using things like crystals and sage and essential oils and, different intention setting practices, putting your child in a bubble of protection are all super important mechanisms and tools that you can use to help protect your starseed child from psychic attacks. Okay. Also, I just wanted to put down here, between the age of 0 and 4, your child may not believe that you are their parent because they are used to, maybe it's a cosmic life or a cosmic parent. Maybe it's a past life on this planet, that they're used to, right? So it's okay if your child says, "You're not my mommy." Don't freak out, okay? Don't get disheartened. It's just starseed thing, all right? Okay, and then so here's what I suggest for parents who are currently parenting children between 0 and 4 years old. What I recommend is, it's a trifecta: safety, grounding, and choice. Making sure that you're always letting them know, whether it be telepathic or verbally, that they are safe. Okay, you're safe, you're okay to be here, right? Second thing is grounding, right? Whether it be an essential oil or a food, get their attention, pull them back into the present moment. Make sure you're making eye contact with them. The physical touch and the cuddles are good, okay? So that's really important with the grounding. And then the third thing is choice. You have potentially an 8th dimensional being that is stuck in this little tiny body, and it's quite frustrating, let me tell you. So it's really important that you allow your child to have more choice than a 3-year-old, would typically have in traditional society. Choice is very important. Allow them to understand that they also have power in their reality as well. Okay? Okay, moving on. From 5 to 9 years old. 5 to 9 years old. This is the time where your child, your starseed child, will start to gain a perspective on who they are. They're starting to create, they're starting to really gain this awareness of self. Oh, I'm different than you. Oh, I can jump and I can make choices, right? So this awareness of self is so key between these ages, 5 to 9 years old. Okay, so this is what I find a lot of the time. Past life traumas will surface and resurface for these children at this age, between 5 and 9 years old. Heaven forbid, but maybe it's some sort of abuse, from whoever, right? Obviously, hopefully not from you. But maybe it's abuse that they endure. Maybe it's bullying in school. Maybe they end up having surgery. Maybe they have some sort of weird heart defect. Maybe there's a car accident. Maybe there's a divorce that happens, right? So between 5 and 9 is a time when your starseed child will revisit these old energies, and those old energies will stick with them for the rest of their life into adulthood, and then they have to circulate and clear those energies in adulthood. You can help your 5 to 9 year old with these small traumas, even if it's, their brother or sister spilt over their glass of milk, right? Don't cry over spilled milk. Maybe that does really affect them, okay? Be very cognizant and aware of what your child is going through at that time, and realize that it's much deeper than the present moment, and allow them to talk about it, allow them to communicate, get them to do a little bit of art therapy at home. It's really important that you help them with the tools through that energy. Burn some sage and tell them that you're helping them clear the energy, so that they don't take this on into adulthood. Okay? And even if you're watching this video right now, I want you to think to yourself, what happened in my life between the age of 5 and 9 that I'm still playing out with my own limiting beliefs? I'm telling you right now, there is something there. That's the age, that's the stage, okay? Okay, yes, so once again, also between 5 and 9, understanding differences, right? All of a sudden it's like, oh, you're different than me. Also wanting to conform. There's going to be this beginning stage between 5 and 9, mostly around 8 or 9, where they observe those differences, especially between them and other children, or maybe them and other children's parents, and they're starting to want to conform, okay? Also, one more thing that I tend to find between age 5 and 9 is they act out in frustration. There's more of this acting out. There's more of this frustration that comes from them because they can't really make sense of the world. Between 5 and 9, they are in between their old world, their old lifetimes, and this brand new life that they're starting to realize, they are in. So what I suggest for you as a parent between the age of 5 and 9, if you have children between the age of 5 and 9, focus on identity. This is a perfect time to teach them a little bit more about identity. But make sure that you're not teaching them about identity in a structured or attached way. Teach them about identity in a fluid way. Maybe one day they want to be a policeman, and the next it's a fireman, and after that it's a bus driver, or whatever it may be. But teach them about identity and let them know that they can always change their identity, whatever that may mean to them, okay? Because this is when they're going to start creating that identity. Also, like I mentioned before, methods of release and emotional coping are huge during this stage between 5 and 9. Focus on methods of release, and emotional coping for them. Yeah, and then also the balance between worlds is so key between 5 and 9. They are going to be in between their old world, spirituality, energy, and in between this new world of, I want to be here, I want to be physical, I want to be a human, let's go, right? So really focusing on the balance between worlds and really, paying attention to that. And then also between the age of 5 and 9 is the perfect time to introduce your little starseed child to spirituality. Maybe between 0 and 4, you were burning sage and giving them crystals and doing other things, and not telling them about it because they didn't really have that comprehension. Between 5 and 9 is the perfect time to let them know, I'm burning sage to clear energy. I'm putting this crystal in your room because it's a magical sorcerer stone or whatever, and get them excited about spirituality. But this is a good time to start training and teaching them. Okay, so moving on, getting into the trickier years for sure. Between 10 and 13, oof, good luck. I mean, if you're in this stage right now, good luck. So in your starseed child, they are going to be wanting to fit in and conform. 100% fit in and conform. There's going to be a huge resistance to you as a parent between 10 and 13. Hopefully you have, maybe a non-resistant child, but the resistance definitely comes up between this stage. And then between 10 and 13, they are searching for answers, okay? Searching for answers. And they don't necessarily want the answers to come from you. Sorry. Okay, so once again, 10 to 13, they're wanting to fit in, they're wanting to conform, there's a resistance to the parents, there's a searching for answers, and they're just, no matter what it is, they're looking for those answers, right? And typically it's in relation to conforming, it's in relation to fitting in, right? So just kind of being aware that that's probably where your child is and being very supportive of that. So what I recommend for you as a parent, if you have children between 10 and 13, is focus on outlets. What is your child like? Maybe one year it's ballet, maybe the next year it's soccer, maybe the year after that it's art, maybe it's all of those things all at once, like I was when I was a kid, right? But really pay attention to what their interests are at this age and allow them to focus on those outlets and push them to discover new ones, okay? New outlets. This is a perfect time because they're wanting to develop their humanness between 10 and 13, okay? So allow them to do that. So other suggestions for parents who have kids in this stage, really listen to them. Like they've got a lot to say, really listen. And in that way, you're telling them, I support you unconditionally because I'm listening to you and I care about you, okay? And then also like speak to them as adults. Like really don't hold back on certain concepts. I mean, don't tell them everything, obviously, but really start bringing them in and educating them in a way that you wish that you were educated at that age, okay? And, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but with all of the different steroids and hormones and things in the food and I don't know what's going on, in the world, but these kids, I mean, at 12 years old, they're looking like they're 24. Like most of the 12-year-olds these days are taller than I am, which also doesn't help with the short complex, but I'm coping with that. So speak to them as adults, okay? And then what I recommend, this might be tricky for you, hold back on spirituality, all right? If you're a parent with a child between 10 and 13, unless your child's like super into it and like, God bless you if they are, that's amazing, right? But hold back on spirituality. The reason why is because there is going to be that natural resistance to you and the breakaway between 10 and 13 and wanting to figure out the world on their own. If you push spirituality too much between 10 and 13, there's actually going to be a little bit of resentment towards you as a parent, which will also create the resentment towards spirituality. And for the rest of their life, they're just going to think, well, my mom's a little bit crazy. You'll go over to my house and she'll sage you. It's weird, right? You don't want that. You don't want to create that dichotomy, okay? So hold back a little bit on spirituality, unless they're super into it. And then also, like, speak to them as adults, but also let them be children still, right? They're going to want to grow up so fast at this stage, but just allow them to go play manhunt with their friends. I don't know if that's such a thing these days, but allow them to go outside and play, and hopefully they want to, right? Okay, moving on to the last stage of the Starseed child. Of course, I mean, as a Starseed, I'm 28 and I'm not a child anymore, but I'm still a Starseed, so that doesn't really change in that way. But we're going to go to the stage of between 14 and 18 years old. Okay, so between 14 and 18, very tricky stages, and you will either notice your child going in one direction or another. It's kind of split. And I mean, these are just two extreme directions, but of course, everything can be different, right, for your set, environment and situation. So on one end of the extreme, I tend to find a lot of 14 to 18-year-olds getting into a rut, starting with my generation, starting with the millennials. Anxiety, depression, apathy, procrastination, lack, like this deep sense of lack and longing and misunderstanding and frustration, but at the same time, this feeling of wanting to give up. No one understands me, so why even bother? That's the feeling. And that's tough. That's tough for anyone at any age, right? So that's one potential for the 14 to 18-year-olds. It's just that depression, anxiety, lack, okay? The other aspect of it is you have a child who is, strong-willed, a go-getter, already knows exactly what they want to do for a living, already has that purpose, that mission. Typically, the difference between the two sets is one half doesn't feel like they have a purpose. So it feels like they're drifting, like they really don't belong to one thing or another. Then the other half, once they find that purpose, watch out world, they're going for it, right? I feel like these days it's more of the anxiety and depression and frustration and being removed than it is the go-getter. I don't know what the younger generations are. I feel like the Gen Z are going to be much more go-getter, and I think that they already are, rather than the millennial, who has been a huge generation of apathy. Part of the reason is we've been given everything by our parents because our parents wanted to give us what they didn't get as children, right? And because of that, it creates this depression. Well, I have everything that I could ever want, so why even bother trying for more? Why even work hard? What do I even want to do, right, if I don't know? So it kind of creates that issue. Also, I just want to say, like, between 14 and 18, parents, please, okay, okay. Please don't push your children into post-secondary school. I don't want to say that it's a huge waste of money and time. I just said it. I do believe that post-secondary was important for me. Obviously, I'm not doing anything within my degree right now, or ever, but that also gave me a structured setting where I could move out at 18 and be on my own and figure out my life from there. And it was like a placeholder, right? So pay attention to who your child is and understand that there are many different programs and courses and things that are going to help support them without maybe the traditional schooling after high school, okay? So I just want to say that I feel like the boomer generation and their millennial children, a lot of the boomers pushed their millennial children into post-secondary because it was the only option. Oh, you want to get paid a good salary and you want a good job and you want to get hired? You got to go to university or college. When I went, I just assumed that there was going to be a job lined up for me after. No one tells you that there's nothing that's guaranteed, right? So I just want to say, it was beneficial for me in all the different ways, but it's not beneficial for every child. And nowadays, as an entrepreneur, you could make more money than a doctor, right? So we need to also change our standards of education, listen to your child in, who they are and what they want. And unfortunately, we've got a whole generation right now that's struggling with student debt when they're not doing anything in their field. And it's really sad and really unfortunate. I don't know. So that's just my own opinion, but take it or leave it. Please pay attention to that. Okay. And so for me, between the age of 14 and 18, 14, 15, 16, super depressed, super removed, super anxious, super conforming and just not being my spiritual, soulful self, searching for answers. And then at 16, with the past life regression, boom, everything changed for me. I understood my purpose, and I was like that go-getter, super motivated. I know what I want to do. Let's do it type of energy. So I was kind of both. I was the anxious, depressed, and the motivated and go-getter. So my suggestions for you guys as parents, 14 to 18 years old, but even 18 and beyond, okay, and into your children's adult life, unconditional love and support. I cannot stress this enough. No matter if your child is gay or queer or bi or wanting to be a woman or a man or whatever, or highly intelligent or unmotivated or motivated or whatever it is that they present themselves as in the world, support them unconditionally. If they don't have that, they are going to suffer with lack in everything else that they do. Because ultimately, deep down, they're going to believe that they don't deserve to receive. Don't pass that on. If you're coming from that place of lack, give yourself some unconditional love in this moment, okay? But don't pass that on to your children just because your parents pass that on to you. Super important that you override that for the sake of your children and their ability to be abundant and successful later on in life in all of the ways. Also, 14 to 18 and beyond, listen to them. Like, really, truly listen to them, They need to know, especially going through this figuring out period of who they are and who they want to be, they need to know that they can come to you and tell you anything. I watch these documentaries with these children who are getting abused in boarding school, and the last person that they end up telling is their parents. Because they're scared of that judgment and the ridicule, and they're scared of not being accepted or loved unconditionally. And then also huge suggestions between 14 and 18 and into adulthood, getting them help with other professionals. And I'm not necessarily talking about a psychologist. I'm talking about a Reiki practitioner. I'm talking about a past life regression coach. I'm talking about, maybe a life coach. I'm talking about a psychic session. I'm talking about alternative methods of helping your child cope and deal with situations that are tough that you are not an expert in. Get them help. There's so many good people out there. There's so many amazing coaches out there for this reason. I love giving little Starseed children help and support and answers and information. I love it, and so don't hesitate to do that for your children because they really do need the help, especially between 14 and 18. And then also, this is a good time between 14 and 18 to ignite their curiosity. Present them with new information, new ideas, new understanding. Ignite their curiosity. And this is a great time to bring back spirituality, right? So like I said, 10 to 13, just chill a little bit on spirituality, right? But from 14 to 18, great time to deep dive back into it. Because if your child is having a nightmare at night or they're having an issue in school, they know that you have something. Maybe it's an essential oil, maybe it's a supplement, maybe it's a freaking health smoothie shake, I don't know, elixir, right? But they know that you have the tools to help guide them through that issue, okay? So bring back the spirituality full force at this time and let them know that you have tools and things to think about. Okay, good. So ultimately, Ultimately, your kids are here to teach you something. Okay? You have contracts with them for a reason. You have been in countless lifetimes with them before. Listen to them. Don't be the authority figure. Be the supporting role in their life. Teach them what school doesn't teach them. Maybe money. Maybe give them an allowance when they're young and say, look, $5. What can you go get with $5? Maybe take them grocery shopping with you and give them $20 and say, I want you to pick out some groceries for the week for us as a family with $20. They need to know the value of money. Like literally, I'm just so baffled. We don't teach our kids this. Money is like the freaking precipice of all of the power and control mechanisms in society. We need to teach them that money is prevalent, but that it's also an exchange of energy, and that it can be absolutely fluid and abundant in your life, but also you need to value and respect it in a certain capacity as well. Our kids need to know that $20 doesn't just get them a bunch of candy. It gets them milk and eggs and bread and whatever else you guys eat per week, right? That's important. Also, give your children responsibilities. If you're doing everything for them, especially, don't give them responsibilities at 3 years old. Do the dishes. It doesn't work like that. But when they're older, 10, 11, 12 even, get them to do laundry. Get them to sweep the deck. Get them to, feed the chickens if you have chickens, right? Get them to participate in the family dynamic. Because you can very easily pigeonhole yourself into a role if you're not careful. And then there's this expectation and attachment that's created. Okay? So give them responsibility. Let them know that they can do this too, that they are that powerful. Teach them how to cook, right? Trust them in that. Super important. Of course, love them unconditionally. That is just so important. And the listening to them is also really important. And then I just wanted to mention too, don't take on their lessons. I'm going to repeat this like 3 times. Don't take on their lessons. Don't take on their lessons. Don't take on their lessons. Okay? If they fall and they scrape their knee, don't allow your knee to hurt along with their knee, or else you cannot be that unconditionally loving, supportive role. Okay? Don't take on their lessons. Support them through them, but don't take them on. And last but not least, 5D parenting is parenting in a state of non-reaction. And being in a state of non-reaction means that you have dealt with all of your own baggage from all of your own past lifetimes. It means that you have a willingness to change, that you are not cemented or rudimented in any sort of dogma, belief, or attachment, or label. You will ultimately be upgraded by your children. So please, listen to them, respect them, love them unconditionally. They are in your life for a reason. And I am so freaking excited to spend some time with my dad. And I'm sure I'll bring him on for another wonderful video. But other than that, I will see you all on Sunday. And with all of your wonderful questions, keep up the good work, everyone. Love you so much. I'll also see you all on Sunday for the Galactic Federation live event as well. Very excited to see what kind of interdimensional beings want to come down and connect with us. So keep up the good work. Sending you all so much love, and all of your little children as well. So much love. Can't wait to have my own little BBs. Yeah. Bye for now.